YouTube. All right. Welcome to the first installment for my channel, Public Enemy Pastor. I asked some friends about my title or whatever, and that's what we came up with. So I think it's gonna stick. This is my first video, and this is quite awkward having to talk to a camera and nobody else to talk to. I probably would do better at this if I were being interviewed. So, anyway, nevertheless, let's get on with the business. Um, I'm a little bit disturbed by what I see going on between the church and this country that we live in America. For those of you who don't know, I'm a member of the Churches of Christ. And usually you don't find too many people in the Churches of Christ going to speak on the things that I'll be talking about on this channel. We're going to talk about the war, we're going to talk about the poverty. We might even get into some of the more esoteric type questions, into the occult, all of these things that don't talk about too much in the Churches of Christ. But that's what this channel is all about. So, where do we live? We that live here in America, we as a church really live under the shadow of this government. There's a lot of talk that goes on about, you know, whether or not church should be involved in politics. Should we speak out? Should we have anything to say? Or why isn't there prayer in schools? A lot of people in the church want to talk about that. See, the problem is we took prayer out of school. Well, I'm gonna tell you something, and for some of y'all, it might break your heart. This is not a Christian nation. Never was. Wasn't started that way, just isn't. I mean, if you do a little bit of the research. So what I'm going to do as a guide, because I haven't yet got the hang of how to do this, I'm actually trying very hard to look right into the camera, make a connection with you all. So let's just start off with some quotes from John. John Adams has a quote: "The United States is not a Christian nation any more than it is a Jewish or Mohammedan nation." Um, that already might strike some of you as a surprise. They were running away from religious persecution in the land that they were in, over in Europe. Why would they come over here and try to press Christianity upon those who they fought? Well, actually, that did happen, but now different day and time. We'll get into that too. The whole push for Christianity and pushing it off on the slaves and everything like that. What about this from Ronald Reagan? "We establish no religion in this country. We command no worship. We mandate no belief, nor will we ever. Church and state are and must remain separate." That's from Ronald Reagan. And I know what you're saying. If you want to use these terms that we use to label ourselves liberals and conservatives, some of the liberals right now think, oh, yeah, that comes from those Republicans. That comes from those, you know, um, conservative types, or maybe even the other way around, because it seems like today the Republicans want to be more into the church and want the church to intervene. But anyway, here's a quote from Barack Obama. "One of the greatest strengths of the United States is we have a very large Christian population. We do not consider ourselves a Christian nation or a Jewish nation or a Muslim nation. We consider ourselves a nation of citizens who are bound by ideals and a set of values." How about that? Not too long ago, Trump, I believe this is while he was on the campaign trail, and he was sitting with a group of religious leaders and pastors and what have you. And Trump said it's very unfair what we're doing to religion in this country. And he was hoping to uh, give pastors basically their freedom back to be able to say what they need to say for a given candidate, or for in politics. Well, for people might have wondered, well, why? Well, there's something called a 501c3. We all want it because, it gives us the tax benefits and you don't have to pay for your taxes. especially if you're making a large purchase like buying a building or what have you. But then if you have this, when they give you this, remember y'all, ain't nothing for free. Government's not gonna give you anything for free. So if you have a tax exempt status, we have a tax exempt status. I'm just crazy enough to just say what I need to say and feel like I can say what I want to say. But anyway, so you cannot back a candidate and not back, let's say, said opponent of that candidate. You have to provide for each and every person to have an equal opportunity. So if you speak too much on the things you disagree with from the pulpit on any given candidate policy that's going on, you could potentially have your status reviewed, and they can retroactive all of those taxes that you have been able to be exempt from. Like if you, let's say you've been exempt from $1 million in taxes and they find you in violation, they can require that you pay all of that back. Wouldn't that be something? Let's get into some more quotes. America is a Christian nation? Question mark. What about Thomas Jefferson? Is Christianity neither is nor ever was a part of the common law. James Madison. Religion and government will both exist in greater purity the less they are mixed together. That's where you live. John Adams. The government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. Now, those of us in the Church of Christ, I've heard people say, oh, this is a Christian nation, and it says in God we trust on the money. In God we trust. Who's God? We'll get into that, right? What are they talking about? I did a whole series on the world system. I just want to tell you this God that's supposed to be on the money, that's not the Christian God, and that's not the God who you thinking it is. Any of y'all watch Duck Dynasty? I don't really watch a lot of TV, but Phil Robertson, who I hear is a member of the church, he's an elder in one of the churches of Christ out in whatever state that is that he lives in. But even this brother right here may be a little bit confused or just led astray as to where he actually lives. It says our founding fathers started this country and built it on God and His Word. And this country sure would be a better place to live and raise your children if we still follow their ideas and beliefs. Maybe it would be better, maybe not. What I do know is the founding fathers never meant for it to be that way. So they were fleeing religious persecution, what have you. I'm going to try to put some pictures up. What's going on? Well, some would agree and some just don't see it. They think everything is a conspiracy theory. By the way, I read somewhere that was a term that was made up by the CIA to discredit those who had anything to say about connecting the dots. Let me tell y'all something. This stuff is checking out. You go back in history, you can see the plan unfolding. It's happening every day. Even the whole thing with the school shootings. Come on, y'all. Y'all ever heard of a book called Pale Gray Horse? Or Behold Pale Horse, rather? William Cooper. He talked about how this was going to happen. I think the book was copyrighted in 1990. Well, guess what? Now we're seeing it. We got to wake up. But anyway, getting back to the Capitol. So we have the Capitol building that is in Washington, D.C. Never been there. Seen plenty of the pictures. Now, this building sits in a very interesting shaped out landscape. Okay, if you're looking down on it from the sky, it actually looks like it is sitting in the belly of an owl. I'll try to post these pictures up on this video so you can see all this. If you go inside of the building, in the rotunda, in the middle of the building, and you were to look up, there's a painting in the Capitol Dome. And it's the name of the painting is called Apotheosis of Washington. Apotheosis, that means the elevating of a man to godhood. And guess who is sitting right in the middle of that picture? none other than the so-called first president of the United States, George Washington. Now, you have all this going on right there in the capital of this country. Let's back up a little bit. Never mind, there's a 19-foot statue of the goddess of war sitting right on top of the Capitol dome. See, this stuff is all around us, y'all. It's hidden in plain sight. I just hope I can be one to give you eyes to see and ears to hear. So I think that's going to be it for this first installment. That's a little over 10 minutes. I got to do this editing. Thank y'all so much. I'll probably provide something. So please, please, please support me. Like and subscribe. We're going to get into some very, very controversial things. Who were the first people? Were they black or white? What happened after the flood? Did those 3, maybe 4 families populate the whole earth? We'll talk about it. And then there may be some questions as to biblical inerrancy. We've heard, and I went to school, they said all the translations have mistakes. And then in the same breath, we'll say, but the word of God is infallible. What are we saying? When it was first given? Or are we saying that we have a Bible? I have a question. If we know where all the mistakes are, let's do this. How about we just produce one that doesn't have any mistakes? Make good sense to me. I don't know. But that's me, y'all. Like and subscribe. That's been my first video. Thank y'all so much. The public enemy pastor here. I love y'all back. Take care.